Hello and welcome to History of Egypt. Over the past few weeks, a small inscription has sparked a massive global debate. News outlets, social media, even some researchers. Everyone is talking about a mysterious carving discovered in southwest Sinai, allegedly bearing the name of the prophet Moses. But is that really true? Does the inscription actually mention Moses? In this video, I will break down the story with facts and show you the real picture. If you enjoy exploring Egypt's history, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more fascinating stories. The man behind all this buzz is a researcher named Baron, an Israeli archaeologist. He claims that after 8 years of excavations at Serabit el-Khadim in the Sinai Peninsula and using advanced techniques like high-resolution image analysis and 3D scanning, he discovered an inscription written in what's known as Proto-Sinaitic script. According to him, the inscription contains the phrase, "This is Moses." And just like that, headline exploded. The name of Moses found in Sinai. Did Moses really live here? But as you'll see, the truth is far more complicated. But before we dive deeper into all the global buzz around this inscription, let's pause for a moment and look at the archaeological setting itself. The site where it was found, Serabit el-Khadim. The name might sound a little unusual, but to archaeologists, this place is anything but unfamiliar. It's a well-known archaeological site in southwest Sinai, tucked away in the rugged mountains, one of the region's harshest landscapes. Back in 1905, the famous British archaeologist Flinders Petrie carried out the first systematic excavation there. And ever since, Serabit el-Khadim has drawn archaeological missions from all over the world. So much so that some researchers have even said the site was studied to death. So the question here is why? Why has this spot captured scientific interest for more than a century? The answer lies in the site itself, and here is why. First of all, Serabit el-Khadim wasn't just any location. It was home to a temple dedicated to the goddess Hathor, the deity associated with mining and turquoise. That means the site carried both religious and economic importance. Archaeologists have also uncovered an inscription and statues bearing the name of powerful Egyptian kings from very different periods. Like example, Senefru of the 4th dynasty, Mentuhotep III, Mentuhotep IV, Thutmose III, Ramses II, even Ramses VI. This time span tells us something crucial. For centuries, the Egyptian state kept coming back to this place as a strategic, economic, and spiritual hub. But there is another key point. The site wasn't just a temple. It was also a massive industrial and mining center. Remains of workers' houses and clear traces of ancient mines all point to large-scale activity in extracting turquoise and copper. And here is where the story takes a major turn. The workers who labored here in certain periods weren't all Egyptians. Many came from the east, from Canaan, people of Semitic origin. This cultural blend between Egyptian and Canaanites left mark most clearly in the inscription found on site. Some of these weren't written in hieroglyphs at all, but in a very primitive alphabetic system, believed to be among the earliest forms of alphabetic writing in history. It's called Proto-Sinaitic script, and it represents a translation stage between Egyptian hieroglyphs and the later Semitic alphabet of the Near East. So, this site isn't just about mining or worship. It's about a unique cultural crossroads where Egypt, the Near East, and the very beginnings of alphabetic writing all intersected. And without this background, we can't truly understand the inscription that has caused all this controversy. And this brings us to the heart of the mystery. The inscription at the center of all this debate was written in what scholars call Proto-Sinaitic script. And as we mentioned, this wasn't just an ancient writing system. It was the first alphabet humanity ever created. So just think about it. From this very primitive script that born here in the mountains of Sinai came the Phoenician alphabet, which gave rise to Aramaic, Hebrew, Arabic, and also Greek and Latin. Eventually, it evolved into the modern alphabet we use today, in books, on screen, in our daily lives. But how did this revolutionary idea even begin? The thousands of inscriptions discovered at Serabit el-Khadim gave us a rare window into that turning point. The evidence suggests that Canaanite workers who had come from the east were exposed to Egypt's complex writing system, and they did something truly radical. Instead of each sign representing a whole word or abstract idea, they reimagined the symbols to stand for a single sound, what scholars call the acrophonic principle. For example, the sign that meant a house wasn't used to write the word house anymore, but simply to represent the first sound in the word, and that was a stroke of genius. A simplified writing system that broke free from the control of priests and elites suddenly became accessible to ordinary people. So, when we talk about this inscription, we are not just talking about a name or a phrase scratched into stone. We are talking about the birth of an entirely new way of thinking. A moment that transformed human communication forever. And that's why this discovery is anything but ordinary. Now that we understand how the Proto-Sinaitic alphabet was born, and why that moment turning symbol into sounds was such a game changer, the real question is, what exactly is this inscription that causing all this fuss? Before jumping into any translation, theory or flashy headlines, let's start with the basics, the inscription itself. The carving is made up of 5 distinct symbols. First, 2 horizontal lines, almost like an equal sign. Second, a cross or plus sign. Third and fourth, wavy lines like ripples of water. Fifth, a shape that look like the English letter W. So, 5 symbols in total, with one of them, the waves, repeated. And here is where things get interesting. One of the boldest interpretations came from Pharaoh. He took each symbol and assigned it a sound value. He said the first is that, the second is te, the waves is mu or ma, the last is si or she. You could argue this makes sense within the range of Proto-Sinaitic possibilities. But then he takes a big leap. He claims that a letter Z equals the word this, and a letter T equals from, and the last 3 symbols equal Moses. So the whole thing, according to him, reads this is from Moses. But hold on for a second. Who decided the letter Z in Proto-Sinaitic equals the English word this? Where exactly did from came from? Are there a dictionary for that? Grammar rules? Any linguistic framework that ties these ancient symbols directly of those meaning? Or are these just interpretive leaps shaped more by personal conviction than by evidence? And what's more important, can we really take a writing system that emerged thousands of years ago and load it with meanings from a language that only appeared millennia later as if they were the same thing? That is the real issue. When someone presents a translation like this, they are not necessarily ignorant. They may know the material very well, but they are choosing to bend it to make it serve a narrative. And that's exactly what we have to stay alert to. Because science isn't just about reading symbols, it's about context. It's about knowing the difference between a careful translation and a free interpretation designed to push a message. We are not against hypotheses, but we are against someone dressing up a personal theory and selling it as a historical fact. And here is the catch. Yes, Proto-Sinaitic is real. That's a solid fact. The inscription itself exists, no one's denying that. And the sequence of sciences that some claims reads Moses, it is there. So where is the problem? The truth, that inscription is nothing more than the name of an Egyptian king, Thutmose. In other words, there is no mystery at all. The real issue lies with those trying to spin the story. Let me break it down for you. In ancient Egyptian, the name Thutmose has 2 parts. Tuhut, the god's name, and Mes meaning born of or child of. So Thutmose literally means born of Tuhut. The early Sinai alphabet was heavily influenced by Egyptian hieroglyphs. That's natural. It developed directly out of them. So when researchers read this inscription, they saw a parallel line, a symbol often tied to Tuhut, then came across or a T shape, which many interpret as a T sound. Some scholars argued the two lines mark a doubling of the following consonant. So instead of just Tut, it would read Tuhut, the god's name. And also King Thutmose III had a strong presence in Sinai. Why? Because he was a devout worshipper of Tuhut. And remember, Tuhut was often buried with the goddess Hathor. And what is the largest structure found at Serabit el-Khadim, as we mentioned? A massive temple dedicated to Hathor. Also, the inscriptions at Serabit el-Khadim often show Tuhut right alongside Hathor, just like what we see at the Temple of Dendera. So to be clear, this inscription isn't saying Moses, it's saying Thutmose. Anyone trying to reduce myth to Moses is oversimplifying things to a ridiculous degree. Why? Because during the Thutmose period, the syllable myth or Moses was everywhere in the royal names. Take Ramses as example. It wasn't originally pronounced like that. It was pronounced Ra-Misu, born of Ra, the same root, Mes, born of, or the name of Hamuas, one of the Ramses II sons. It literally means Moses of the scepter. Finding Mes in an inscription doesn't automatically mean it refers to the biblical Moses. There is no such thing as we found the name Moses. Therefore, it must be the prophet Moses. Even if we did accept the idea that the inscription simply says Moses, would that be proof? Of course not. Are we supposed to believe that in all of ancient Sinai, no one else ever carried the name Moses except the prophet? That logic doesn't hold up. And that's the real takeaway here. This inscription is in a smoking gun for biblical history. It's a window into Egyptian royal names, the worship of Tuhut, and the cultural mix at Serabit el-Khadim. So, I hope this breakdown helped clear up the story with a solid evidence. And I will leave some sources in the description if you would like to explore more. If you like this video, write your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. See you in the next one, and as always, stay sharp, stay curious.